Okay, now the government has announced that the military will help reduce the effects of the floods caused by the rains which have been pounding the country since last month. Deputy President William Ruto says the military will help in providing relief food and medicine and also evacuate those affected by the floods. And as KTN's Wilkister Nyabwa reports, work has already begun on a plan of action geared towards finding a lasting solution.
63. This is the number of persons reported to have died as heavy rains continue to pound parts of the country. About 34,000 others have been affected by the resultant flooding. The government now coming to the aid of the affected population and turning to the Kenya Defence Forces to airlift relief food to areas that have been cut off. On Thursday at noon, Deputy President William Ruto inspected and flagged off a plane carrying 5 tons of relief food.
And as I reported to the country, 100 million shillings was set aside for the purchase of foodstuffs and non-food items to be used to ensure that citizens that have been affected by floods across the country do not sleep hungry.
The consignment, comprising food items such as rice, beans and cooking oil, and non-food items including blankets, was headed to Merti and Garbatula. A second consignment would leave for Tana River later in the day. This coming a day after the government deployed a chartered aircraft to airlift 41 people in Garissa.
His Excellency the President has also ordered the Army to participate in this exercise, and that is why this morning we have mobilized the Army to supply food to areas that have been cut off as a result of the floods. Very specific areas in Merti, in Garbatula, and in some parts of Tana River have been cut off, and citizens have no access to food.
The government responding swiftly in a time of crisis, a practice that has given rise to the cry of Naomba Serikali year after year. Hard pressed to come up with a long-term solution, the new government now unveiling its 20-year action plan divided into 3 parts. The first part, immediate intervention, to be implemented within the next 18 months, will see the government assist affected communities to recover. The medium-term intervention, to run for 5 years, entails building resistance, while long-term interventions will see the government support the planting of 350 million trees to bring forest cover up to 10%. This the government action plan. And it all begins with a sessional paper still in the pipeline.
We have to eliminate guesswork and trial and error in the management of disaster in our country. And as a result, a sessional paper will be tabled shortly in the House so that a National Disaster Management Authority is set up with clear mandate on how to manage national emergencies in the country.
Even as the government now steps in to mitigate the effect of floods in parts of the country, the Deputy President speaking of plans that are already in motion to see a National Disaster Management Authority that shall deal with such problems henceforth. Wilkister Nyabwa, KTN in Nairobi.